Do self-care like your moon sign. But babes, I'm a Capricorn moon, so does that just mean I do more work? Or my name is Leja, you can call me Lay, and it's Valentine's Day. I tried to look up what is self-care because I saw a post this morning while scrolling on TikTok and doing my little morning treadmill walk, whatever. Do self-care like your moon sign. But babes, I'm a Capricorn moon, so does that just mean I do more work? Or like, so I tried to look it up using the AI in Notion. I'm just gonna pop it on the screen of what my results were. It gave me no inspiration. Like, I just felt like, yeah, it was, I asked for it for like the 5 love languages because, you know, using the 5 love languages as like self-care ideas for self-love makes the process, like, if you never tried that, you should try it. So I have like this self-care oracle deck. That's my cat saying hi. I thought it would be a cool idea to gamify my day, because it seems like that's how I get anything done, if I make it fun. So this is the oracle deck. This is the inside of the box. See how pretty? Cards are significantly bigger than my hands, so this is why I'm terrible at shuffling. We got movement. I already did that today, so I guess I took care of this. Like, literally right now, let's see how many steps I have. I'll pop it on the screen. But currently, I did 13,703. So, let's do something else. See what else comes out. Watch a movie. Let's see if there's another one I should do. Let's just do 3. Personally, I'm not a movie girl. I'm a girl who likes watching TV shows. Movie, I don't know. Rest. Yesterday was my rest day. I already did my movement for today, so it's like, the only one I haven't done is watch a movie. It's gonna be my self-care activity for the day. But now I have to choose like a movie. But that has to be like an end of day thing. And choose something from here. I loved Breakfast Club. I loved 10 Things I Hate About You is actually one of my favorite movies. Mulan is one of my favorite movies, and I actually have been wanting to watch Mulan again because I want to see Mulan 2 because I completely forgot the storyline. I was supposed to have a movie date with my friend, but we're actually gonna hang out next week, which is why I need to get ish done today. So it says, watch a movie, mantra, I'm worthy of relaxing. Movies are a beautiful way to escape into fantasy, slip into another culture, or try on a different point of view. They can be perfect. They can be the perfect indulgence when you need a time out, a perspective shift, a deep belly laugh, or a good cry. Plan a night to watch a movie by yourself and journal about how it makes you feel. Treat yourself to a solo date night at the movie theater. You are worth it. Organize a themed movie night with a loved one or group and step out of reality and into a story together. Journal prompt. What is your favorite movie from childhood and how does it make you feel? If we get everything done today, we can have a weekend of just watching movies and doing all the girly things, like doing our nails, journaling, everything. So let's start with what I was doing this morning. Because I woke up early and I was editing the podcast episode. It is almost 9 o'clock. A lot's going on. A lot has happened in the course of like January into February, and now it's like we're halfway through February basically because it's Valentine's Day, and then I'm like, oh, we're halfway through February, so that means I need to start thinking about my goals for April and see what I need to wrap up for the rest of February and into March, and just have all those decisions made because I am so tired of having decision fatigue. Yeah, this is actually how my brain functions. This is probably why I have anxiety. But let's get to work today. Let's make my favorite drink. Gonna need this. I'm obsessed with this. Of course this. And we got what we need. I always fill it to about here. Then we take this. Then it goes like this much. And yes, I use this. Of course, a glass straw. And then we just... 9:06 a.m. I'm gonna set my watch as a timer, but you see that it's at, this is how far I got with editing, episode 45. So let's see how much I can edit in about 30 minutes. Since I get kind of easily distracted, I'll just do check-ins with y'all because I know very well I am not good at recording and working at the same time. So we'll be back. We'll be back checking in, holding ourselves accountable. Let's go. Okay, so check-in time, it is 9:38 and I got up to 18 minutes. If this doesn't show how much I re-listen and listen to a part multiple times, even though I try not to, I still get into a very bad perfectionist like habit with trying to create, and maybe that's a huge part of why creation could feel very frustrating for me and makes me burn out so fast, because it's not even that I don't have a lot of ideas, because that's part of the problem. I have a lot of ideas, but then in terms of creation, I'm the most comfortable writing out my ideas, writing out and pursuing creation that way. Even though there's a rise of reading again, it also feels like blogging is still not on the popular end of content that people like to consume. So even though I love blogging the most, I would say, because there's such a rise in video and more than even pictures and stuff like that, and that's what regular blogging used to be. It used to be just, you know, pictures and words. But I feel like the most popular format is like short form content, even though I still like to make longer form content. And blogging is on the side of like definite longer form content. So is podcasting. So is technically most of YouTube. Because I have like such a perfectionist vibe with creating, it doesn't even like, it doesn't flow. Like I feel like when I create, it's not flowing the way I want it to flow. And then sometimes I have clips I'm like, but I don't like how this looks, so I'm not gonna use it. Or it's just this very like, I'm trying to get out of this headspace of being a perfectionist with creation. With the full moon in Leo, it made me like think about very specific things, like, am I acting in survival mode in terms of like my work and the different work I do between coursework and this creation work? And what does work mean for me? What does going for my dreams mean to me? Like, I'm just in that headspace, you know? So I was just like, okay, am I kind of being perfectionist? Am I kind of acting in survival mode in pursuit of work? And upon reflection, yes. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to overthink things anymore. But learning to not think, or learning to just pursue instead of just overanalyzing, overthinking, I feel like that's the hardest thing to unlearn. Because even with something as simple as editing, it takes longer because I'm literally re-listening to a part and I'm like, does my pitch sound good? Like, how does my words sound? Do they kind of slur together? Because sometimes that is the hard part about doing video creation and verbal in front of a camera creation, because one, I don't always look at the camera. It's very hard for me, eye contact. Two, on top of that, it's like I know I'm not the strongest speaker, and with my podcast I have to write out what I want to say first and think through like everything I want to say first before I even record, because then I would keep making mistakes and then get frustrated, then having to record all over, delete the idea, and it's just like, yeah, I really wish I could just do things, but it's just not in my personality to just, it's not in my personality to do that. I really am an overthinker, and it sucks. And it's like, I'm a creative person, but I'm also an overthinker, and it's like the most stressful thing, because it's like I just want to create, I want to like what I create, but then I end up hating what I create, and then I get into like this freeze paralysis mode of, then because I hate what I create and I think it's not good enough, then I get into this very weird headspace, and I'm trying so hard not to be in that start cycle all over again, because I really hate that. If you're building towards a goal, consistency is the construction of it, you know? It's the process of laying the foundation. That's like what I keep trying to tell myself, like consistency is construction, and that is exactly what I'm gonna write about today. Like post editing, hopefully I can get to everything. But yeah, I'm going to get up, walk around, clear my head a bit, and then start the work cycle again. Okay, so check-in time, because I got up to 30 minutes and 5 seconds. But because of how, like, I'm going to show you how much I cut and edit so you get a better idea of why this takes me so long. But you see like how much like little lines, because that's how much sometimes when I talk, if I don't like how I said it and I know I said in a way I didn't like it, that I knew I'd be annoyed. So then I would have to repeat myself. And then this podcast in particular is longer than I usually do. So you could tell it's at 44 minutes. It started out longer, like it was at like 55, I think. So even like cutting it down, it's still pretty long. And I wish it was shorter. It's nearly double of what I usually do for a podcast episode, and that's kind of annoying. But I am going to take a break now from the editing because my eyes are starting to hurt. And whenever my eyes start to hurt, I try to do an activity that's not screen related. Because if I journal, I have a lot that I'm thinking about. I have a lot that I need to brain dump. So I was like, okay, let me just list some things here. I've been pondering, I've been thinking about the thought of work and how I view content creation in itself. Because I am trying to have a breakthrough, because y'all know I use astrology. Like, I don't even like really talking about my views on astrology, because I feel like whenever I do, it's kind of like you either get it or you don't. Because for me, astrology is just a tool to understanding other things that I believe in. Like, it helps me understand my religious beliefs more. And there's always like this conspiracy of like, if you like astrology, you're worshiping the stars. I don't view it that way. I see it as, even in my recent card pull, like the vibe of the cards were very interesting. It felt like a very specific message. Like when you look at them, I looked at them from not just like the order, but like which card I got for what number, because I usually pull 8 cards because I'm a life path 8. So in my head it makes sense, like when I do card pulls, to pull 8 cards. And then when it's just like check-ins, I do 3, a confirmation card, and a last message card. So 5. And 5 also in terms of numerology means change, so it makes sense like what ways I have to change in order to fulfill like my life path. So in my head it makes sense. Symbolism, it makes sense. I'm also thinking about that I should start preparing for my year 2 goals. When you think about it, February is halfway through, well, Valentine's Day today is halfway through February, which means we have 2 weeks left in this month 14 days left in this month. And then it's March. Then it's I think my year one ends like March 22nd, because I technically did start my year one like December 30th. So technically it was still like, you know, in 2024. But I like to plan my goals early sometimes, and for the past days I've been just meaning to write it down to get it out of my head, because in my head I'm like, okay, so I think I want to do this thing, that thing. Like, there are definitely things that I want to do that I thought of already, and I think I basically do have the 3 goals that I really want to do. And with this year though, and one thing I have been like observant on is what goals have I been very much thriving in, and what goals have I struggled in. I think I would have thrived in my goals more if I had set myself up better to do the goals. As in, a lot of my goals, for example, was a lot of contacting people. And if I had, like, for example, the list of people I wanted to contact down, like, before I started my year one, I feel like I would have been able to contribute to that goal a lot better than how I am now. And there are some things I kind of did, and it kind of shifted into a different goal. And I started doing that instead of this other thing. How I want to do this is use my regular template. I have a very specific way of planning my goals, meaning I do it like the smart way. Then I turn it into a whole statement. I write down my why, and I write down my resources that I might need. And then actually setting up the resources templates and completely making it easy for me to actually do the things. So if I write through it and think through it a lot more than I am, because in surface level it's just kind of floating in my brain, but it's not like written down, it's not fully fleshed out. And then another thing I think I want to journal about is, because it's Valentine's Day, obviously I'm thinking a lot about like emotions and feelings, but I have to admit, this is the first Valentine's Day I didn't feel like I'm missing out on something, you know? Because I'm thinking back to high school me, to a point where I remember in, I think it was 10th grade, I literally stayed home on Valentine's Day on purpose because I did not want to be in school during Valentine's Day. I hated being around people. I hated watching all the people get these gifts, and all, like, people get roses, because we had this thing where you could have bought someone a rose and they get it during class and stuff like that. But because of my experience in high school, and also I didn't get into my first relationship until literally my senior year, and even that was a complicated thing, because yeah, that's a whole different story. But I used to be so miserable on Valentine's Day, and as you could tell, I'm not crying, I'm not in bed sulking over it. So that's how I kind of know I healed from my previous beliefs on relationships. And honestly, like, I was kind of codependent, really defined like my value on like whether someone liked me or not, or if I was in a relationship or not, and stuff like that. I'm also in like the thought process of my experience with it, because obviously I would say we still ended on not bad terms, but not good terms either. Like, I don't view it as good. It feels like there was a lot unsaid and a lot unknown in terms of what I know, but I feel like I was very open, so it just felt like one-sided. So that's why I say it didn't end on good terms, but it didn't end on bad terms. I would still consider it as like, if we could be friends, we would be friends. Part of the issue is still not fixed, which on my part was communication. Like, meaning I felt like their communication wasn't the best and everything. So yeah, And then I was just like having like a thought, you know? I was just like, it's so interesting how someone will like you or admire you before the relationship, but then when you're actually in a relationship and you kind of like shift and try to adjust to balancing your life with another person, it's like all of a sudden it's like they don't like that version of you. They don't like the version of you that they influenced, you know? It's like once you're like out of it, you're just like relearning how to just be yourself. And sometimes I don't think I was one of those people who stood firm in their personalities, their identity through the relationship. And I think, yeah, that's my fault. That is absolutely my fault, and I take full accountability for that. Even in friendships, I feel like I lose so much of my identity, which is a problem. It's actually a problem. And then because I feel that way, then I isolate, and it's kind of like this, I feel like I work in cycles, and it's a frustrating thing because I have such awareness over these type of things, but at the same time, I don't know what to do about them yet because I have awareness. I have thoughts on these things because obviously if I'm saying it, this is like what is going through my mind, and there's multiple things. Everything I just listed is everything going through my mind at once. And yeah, I feel like I have 70 tabs open in my brain right now, so I need to like get things on paper so I can just have more clarity. I've been getting better at journaling this year because, like I said in so many videos, this is the first year I'm almost done with my journal, and to the point I had to buy backups. I got these pens, so it makes it so much better and easier to write in the journal, because before I was writing with gel pens, and the problem was I hated writing with the gel pens, even though I like the feeling of gel pens more. I hated writing with the gel pens because then I would have to wait a little bit or it would smudge, and sometimes I would forget, and then I would get pen on my hand. So yeah, I guess part of this whole cycle of learning to be the productive version of ourselves, the 1% better version of ourselves, takes a lot of honesty, a lot of accountability, and just figuring out what works for ourselves. I'm trying my best to learn how to be centered with myself and know and validate, like, okay, I am trying hard. I am doing the best I can. I know there are things I need to be accountable with, and I'm willing to do what I can. I'm willing to try to do the different things, and I think that's what matters. This is my breakfast. It's monstrous. This is what I made for Sunday's breakfast. This is 1 piece of turkey bacon, 4 sausages. This is air fried fruit with cinnamon, of course. And let's get the day started. The lighting is horrible in here because it is now 6 p.m. on Sunday, and I'm just finishing my work for the day. I finally finished my podcast. That's gonna go up Monday. This is like, it took forever for me to do, so let me just save that before I forget. I also completed my customer analytics course for the week, so I don't know if I might get a head start because they have, the videos actually seem short for the upcoming week, so that's pretty good because I have a lot to do this week. I tried to vlog. I actually did try, but this weekend was pretty hectic in terms of like things I wanted to finish, because basically I had to finish the blog post, which is up, by the way. Like, I am trying to basically redo my blog covers. So I kind of like these a little better. So this is the new blog post. The message is consistency is construction. If you want, I'll link that in the description box. I highly recommend you read it. As you could tell, like, I did not do any of the self-care things that I was supposed to do. One of the hardest things when you are in a building phase in your life is sometimes it actually gets hard to do the self-care things. I still need to watch the movie. I still need to do certain things and to like make sure I'm not burning myself out. It is very, very hard to do those things because especially with how I grew up, I've been thinking so much about what I'm supposed to learn during like this full moon process. And even today, because today's Sunday, I told y'all I kind of listen to service and everything on Sundays, and today's message was basically about your waiting season. The quote that really hit me hard, to be honest, was when the preacher said, "You are not being restricted, you are being reserved." And that hit hard. I thought I would just like share it. But also a huge part of the messaging for today's service was about how you need to rest within it and be calm, be faithful within the waiting season instead of trying to force things. And that's one thing I struggle with. And as a person who does like self-development, that does like self-improvement, and I know there has been, I guess, controversy over self-improvement content to a point where people are like, they're always trying to sell you something and this and that. How some people say self-improvement doesn't really work and how it puts you in a toxic cycle. And listen, I get it. I get different perspectives on the topic of self-improvement for this reason. I personally think that there are so many different ways a person needs to improve. It all depends on what they value in life. It all depends on if they're actually taking the right actions for themselves. Because yes, self-improvement is different for everyone. Yes, a lot of it that does go viral is for men, it's like the working out stuff, the gym content, the X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? But for women, it's a little different. It's the beautifying thing. It's the glow up type content. It's the high value, ultra feminine content. A lot of times, a lot of the content has similar purpose, but is presented and repackaged in a different way. Also, a huge part of it is marketing to see like who it would be receptive to in terms of like who is the target audience for that content. And that's why not all content will feel for everyone. And that's why even if someone is like a self-improvement person and a self-improvement girly or guy, but they don't fit like the look maxing, the aesthetic-y part of self-improvement, then that's the hard part of really listening to it. What I'm trying to say is, and wrap this productivity vlog up, is we all, just like healing, I don't think self-improvement is linear, and I also don't think self-improvement, like I don't think there's an end to it, just like there's not an end to healing, because with healing there is always going to be different things to heal from, because you're always going to be rediscovering things about yourself, learning new things about yourself. And same with self-improvement, like once you develop, you'll think about ways from another perspective. But I feel like as long as we know it's not to make ourselves like, because we don't think we're good enough, but because we see the actual potential within ourselves, that self-improvement content doesn't have to be like this evil thing. But I will add that part of the way I need to self-improve like right now is kind of learning how to do the self-care things and slow down on the work ethic, because as you see, like my thing is really like I'm doing skill development because there are certain things I want to learn. I want to develop my skills further to be to have a certain career, to have a certain profession, and that's what I'm working towards. And on top of that, I am doing like work that is purposeful for me and creating content and kind of discovering what that even means for me in my own content creator type journey. And it does get stressful because I know I'm an overthinker. I know in some ways I still have like this tendency, this overthinking mindset, which makes the execution process so much harder. Even that is a form of self-improvement, is to learn how to chill, to learn how to relax, to learn how to slow down. Self-improvement is not always about this like hyper go. It really just depends on where you're at, because some people, they do need that push to be more go. Other people, they need the push to slow down. And it is all about perspective and finding of what you need to learn in that moment. So yeah, that's what I wanted to wrap up this video with, because maybe I'll still try to watch Juno. I don't know. If I don't do it today, I'll try to do it this upcoming Friday, because the thing is, I do have a busy week in front of me, so I need to wrap up this video so I can edit it. Then Monday, I'm supposed to record a podcast episode. I have a blog post that's supposed to go up on Tuesday that I did not even start yet. So there's that. And then Wednesday, I'm going out meeting my friends. We're gonna have an actual rest day and a social day, because I do not do that often enough. The last time I actually saw my friends was probably October, if I'm being so for real right now. When it comes to winter, I unintentionally isolate, and then on Thursday I have a meeting. So it's like all these things this upcoming week, and it's like I'm hoping my energy is not like burnt out, and I actually am energized this week, and I'm praying, because there's so much to do, so much social interactions to do. I want to be able to show up for it the best way. So I know I need to get a work ahead, but at the same time I need to relax. So it's like this very conflicting thing about this thing. And that's why work-life balance, I don't know how much it really exists or what that looks like, because it's different for everyone. It's different for different parts of your life. It's different depending on what areas of life you need to build. And since I am building a good chunk of my life again, and especially in terms of like work, career, stuff like that, especially in terms of health, the socializing tends to take a slip. I could do more self-care, but it's like, it's usually more physical than like actually pausing and activities and fun and enjoyment. That is all for today. Have a good day, evening, or night. And I don't know what this will turn out to. Even if I don't like how this turns out, because I know myself and I know how I'm gonna think, I know I'm gonna watch it and be like, I don't like this. But the truth is, I'm probably just hyper focusing and hyper fixating on what I like and dislike. Bye!